All right, we're back. Got a little black eye from this weekend. I low-key probably need stitches, but I feel like, face cuts are kind of cool, so might let it ride. Um, Anyways, today we're taking a look at Reddit and X.com. Personally, I use Instagram and TikTok as my primary source of social media scanning, but it's worth touching on the value that Reddit, X, and other text/forum style websites provide. A good framework I use is Instagram and TikTok is a better representation of the general zeitgeist or sort of collective unconscious. Um, the things that manifest themselves there through content, sort of ideas and things that people are interested in, are generally more mass market. Whereas on Reddit and X.com, it is easier and you are more likely to sort of fall into um, and you are able to analyze these high intent cult like rabbit holes, which are actually extremely important in their own respect. So I'll start off here with a material example. Okay. During the last video, I spoke a little bit about looks maxing, but let's go into this Reddit channel. Yeah, this is obviously a joke, but I don't know why it's all women right now. It looks like it's just thirst traps. This is not how it used to be. When I first built Umax, it was filled with, uh, you know, people like this, pretty normal looking dudes asking for advice on how to improve their facial aesthetics. I would bet that part of it here is like the pictures of girls are just more likely to get up votes. Um, but let's see this. Okay, so I used to sponsor. So if you go back to Looks Maxi advice from years ago, every single post had a try Umax. I guess someone else probably outbid us recently. I don't really put any operational effort into Umax anymore. But anyways, enough general background. What's the key takeaway here? There are a ton of people on the internet that are asking for advice on how to improve their facial aesthetics. They want ratings as well as advice. So I had first seen this on TikTok. I found forums like r/looks maxing advice, as well as the looks maxing forum. So I think we can find this looks maxing. There's like a dedicated looks maxing forum too. This might be it. Another good example of this is bodybuilding forum. Oh, it may have been deleted. Yeah, this used to be a really popular one, the forums on bodybuilding.com. Anyways, you can go to these forums and you can see what people are asking for. Then the next step there is do your market research, which we'll talk about in the next video. And if the products that are solving these problems don't already exist, that's a great signal that you can build them and then use these communities as your initial method of penetration and generating distribution, traffic, awareness, that sort of thing. What you'll often find is that the sort of niches and content that people are interested in on short form, so TikTok and Instagram, will also have companion forums on Reddit and X, as we'll later look into. So if we go to NoFap, I know that there used to be a popular, here. Why is it hidden? That's so weird. Okay, well, there is a Reddit forum of NoFap, which has 1.2 million members. Is this Quitter? Maybe this is a different application. Anyways, uh, when Alex and Connor were building Quitter, they saw this sort of organic movement on these different forum websites as well as short form social media. And if you go here and you read these posts, what you'll find is you'll be able to very easily put yourself into the mind of people who are trying to achieve these different results. For looks maxing, they want to find out how attractive they are and how they can become more attractive. For NoFap, they want to figure out how to develop the discipline to be able to overcome their addiction to pornography and masturbation. So these Reddit forums are an absolute gold mine for figuring out what the wants and desires are of the really high intent users. So you can identify these either large or quickly growing communities. So NoFap has been large for a while. On the other end, for Umax, looks maxing was very high growth at that point. You identify the problems that these people are experiencing, and then what are the solutions that they're directly or indirectly asking for. Okay, now we can move over to X. Okay, so I started here on politics because, as I mentioned yesterday, this sort of like anti-deep state America First movement is growing very quickly. One idea for a product. This might be one of these like slightly over intellectualized products, but would probably go viral nevertheless, would be a product where you can input any individual's name and see who they're deeply connected to, who they have ties to, who they've received funding from, and essentially identify what the individual's background biases are. So politics, obviously, always super viral. There's still very few apps built in that domain, so could be interesting. Okay, I'm gonna keep scrolling a little bit. Crypto as well as financial. X is always very large. Building strategic tooling for individuals to source higher quality information could be very interesting. For example, I know that these deep research AI models are very effective at quickly and exhaustively scraping the internet for different for news and information on different topics, right? You could build a product with an interface that makes it really easy to enter a ticker for stocks and or crypto coins and help identify information that can help these sort of short-term swing traders make more informed decisions. Now, I'm not deeply familiar with this industry, and I'm sure it'd be difficult to build something that actually captures and creates any amount of alpha for the individual, but an idea nevertheless that may be worth investigating. Career, I think, is very interesting. I think that we're moving towards an increasingly efficient let me rephrase. I think we're moving towards an increasingly brutal and difficult, and yet at the same time probably efficient job market for new graduates. And it's extremely difficult to get a job. Like, I'd like to think of myself as a very intelligent and thoughtful individual who would be valuable within any organization. And yet I applied to probably over 200 jobs and internships throughout college, and I never even got a second round interview. I'm not joking. I never got a second round interview. I got maybe like 3 or 4 first round interviews, but everybody wrote me off. So it's a brutal job market out there, and it's honestly something that people are willing to pay a lot for. People pay $50,000+ a year for university education with hopes that they'll get a job. Now, any tool that can help people get jobs, like actually get the fucking jobs, would be extremely valuable. People would pay a lot of money for. So I know that there are a lot of people trying to build AI agents for this, but even something as simple as like a career AI product where it auto applies to jobs for you, has your sort of like AI interview helper, like Cluely style, whatever it may be, and helps you identify jobs. Once again, using agents to search, applies, helps build out the best resume for you, helps coach you into how to become the most effective sort of employee candidate, right? That product could absolutely rip. Like even my younger brother recently, I was actually able to help him get a job. Nepotism, it is what it is. He's smart. He deserves the job regardless. 1580 SAT. But he as well, even with that 1580 SAT, had such a hard time. If someone had shown me a tool like this that was actually effective, I would have told him to pay hundreds of dollars a month for it, or I probably would have just bought it for him, but something along those lines. Anyways, yeah, career is massive. Not many people have built products in this space, successful products, rather, I should say. So that's an example that was inspired not by me seeing an individual post, but like kind of generally understanding the larger order problems that people nowadays face, as well as what the available technology could provide in terms of solving it. Also knowing that none of these products on the market are actually that effective, right? So we're taking a lot of outside information just on the basis of the category. I don't have like super specific recommendations on how to find and identify problems on X, though I'm sure just by curating your feed and consuming high quality information, you'll be able to more properly identify. I think it's always important to stay in touch with what's going viral at any given moment, right? Zach, for example, Zach went insanely viral with his SAT tweet. Let's see, it'll be something along the lines of like, it's like what do let's go Miami from what is it, Zach Yadagari from, wait, let's see what's Zach _ Yadagari. Yeah, to highlights. Oh yeah, here we go. Zach went extremely viral for getting rejected from so many colleges in spite of being one of the most competent candidates of all time, in my opinion. Like, I've spoken to hundreds of 17, 18-year-olds that have reached out asking me for advice. Zach blows, and these are all fucking smart, high achieving kids. Zach blows every single one of them out of the water. And yet he got rejected from like almost every single school that he applied to. Reason I bring this up, this was like one of the most viral things in the news at the time, right? It did 30 million views. People were speaking about it on news stations and whatnot. If you generally stay up to date with what's going super viral, you'll be able to identify the most pressing problems that people face, and sort of build around it. Okay. I think that generally concludes my spiel for Reddit and X.com, as well as scraping other forum websites. I don't have an extremely strict methodology here, but rather that, as you begin to form your idea, these can provide more in-depth information and sort of data to help inform your process of product ideation. This can even serve as the starting point of where you come up with your idea. It's not something that I've traditionally done, but once again, just another solid data point. Cool. Next up, you're going to have an assignment where you are going to think about problems that you experience, scroll through social media, come up with a ton of different ideas, or rather than a ton, I should say a bunch of different ideas. And then you are going to write a little bit about a few of them. In the next unit, we're going to go over market research and finalizing your idea before we get into the more material components of building an app, the modules being design, development, and distribution. So I will see you guys in the next video.